They didn't leave in a hurry. They didn't leave a trail. Dinner was still warm. Tools lay where hands had dropped them. And every dog, strong, trained, vital, was found frozen in place. In 1930, a trapper arrived at a remote Inuit village near Lake Anjikuni and found everyone gone. No footprints, no struggle, no answers. Whatever called them away, it didn't wait. Osif Labelle had traveled this route for years. The land knew him. The cold respected him. Lake Anjikuni lay frozen under a dull iron sky, the kind that pressed low on the shoulders. Smoke should have been rising from the village by now. Children should have been running toward the shoreline, laughing, calling his name. The Inuit families there knew him, trusted him, but the shoreline was still. Labelle slowed his sled. The dogs whined, confused by the silence. "Hello," he called, cupping his hands. His voice cracked in the cold and fell flat. No answer. He stepped off the sled. Snow near the huts was packed down, fresh. Someone had been here recently. That alone should have been comforting. Instead, it wasn't. He walked toward the nearest dwelling. The door flap moved slightly in the wind. Inside, a pot hung above a fire pit. Ashes were still warm. A half-prepared meal sat frozen mid-process. Labelle swallowed. "You home?" he said, quieter now. Still nothing. The cold suddenly felt closer. Listening. Labelle moved from hut to hut. Each told the same story. A sewing needle threaded but abandoned. Boots by the door, not taken. A child's carved toy lying where it had fallen. Everything said they were interrupted. Outside, the dogs began barking, sharp, distressed sounds. Labelle followed the noise and stopped short. Every sled dog stood frozen in place, tethered to posts. Some had tried to pull free. Their paws were dug into the snow, their mouths open as if mid-cry. No hunter would leave dogs like this. Not for minutes, not for hours. Labelle felt a pressure behind his eyes. He knelt, touched one of the animals. Solid ice. "Why weren't you released?" he whispered. The lake groaned. A deep, distant sound. Ice shifting, or something beneath it. Labelle stood quickly. That was when he noticed it. No footprints leaving the village. Not toward the forest, not toward the lake, not anywhere. People don't disappear like smoke. He began calling names now, real ones. Anana, Tuktu, Kisik. Names he had shared meals with, laughed with, traded stories beside fires. His voice echoed back, thin and wrong. In the largest hut, he found bedding still warm beneath furs. Someone had been resting. Someone had stood up and never returned. A sudden thought crept in, unwelcome, irrational. What if they're watching you? Labelle shook his head hard. Fear made men foolish. Then he saw the lamps. Each oil lamp had been extinguished carefully. Not knocked over, not rushed, deliberate. A decision had been made here. Outside, dusk arrived faster than it should have. The horizon darkened unnaturally, swallowing detail. Labelle realized something else then. There were no weapons taken, no supplies packed, no sign of preparation. Whatever happened, it happened quickly and together. He almost didn't go there. The burial ground sat on a small rise beyond the village. Respect demanded distance, but instinct pushed him forward. The snow was disturbed. Graves had been opened, not violently, but carefully. Stones stacked neatly aside, the earth exposed, empty. Labelle staggered back a step. "No," he breathed. This wasn't fear anymore. This was violation. Something ancient undone. The wind picked up, whispering through the tall grass. For a moment, just a moment, Labelle thought he heard voices layered beneath it. Not words, a murmur, like many people speaking at once from far away. He ran. Labelle locked himself inside one of the huts as night fell. He kept the fire low. Too much light felt dangerous. The lake cracked again, louder this time. Then he saw it. Across the ice, far out where no camp should be, a faint glow. Not firelight exactly, steady, pale. He held his breath. The glow moved. LaBelle backed away from the doorway, heart hammering. He didn't sleep. He didn't pray out loud. At dawn, the light was gone. The village remained empty. That was enough. LaBelle left at first light, driving his dogs harder than he ever had. The cold tore at his lungs. Ice burned his face raw. He did not look back. Days later, frostbitten and shaking, he reached the nearest outpost and told his story. Men laughed at first. Then they saw his eyes. Authorities returned with him. They searched for weeks. They found nothing. No tracks, no remains, no explanation. Official reports spoke of migration, of starvation, but the dogs contradicted that. The food contradicted that. The graves contradicted everything. The case was quietly closed. The lake froze again. Snow covered the village. Time did what it always does. It softened edges, blurred certainty. LaBelle never returned to Anjikuni. Years later, he would wake from dreams of a light moving across ice and voices calling without sound. Not asking for help, calling names. Some places don't leave evidence. They leave questions. Lake Anjikuni reminds us that not all disappearances are loud. Some happen carefully, together, as if answering a call only they could hear. If this story stayed with you, share it with someone who listens closely to the quiet. Like the video, follow Lanes and Lanterns, and tell us in the comments, do you think the village left or was taken?